Greetings Commanders, and welcome to the 8th episode of our Captain's Logs, which chronicles the progress of the Starship Enterprises Corporation and details orders that Commanders can follow to help as our story unfolds. Well, it's been a while since my last video, so I think I should start by saying Happy New Year and a belated Christmas greetings, Commanders. I say this knowing that after 1,000 years, religion isn't exactly what it used to be on Old Earth, and the fizzy drinks ban of 2040 saw the end of the Coca-Cola empire. And in 339 most of our planets are tidally locked, so we don't even have days, let alone any seasons. And in our head office, the new year comes around every 35 days or so. But that aside, the human race still seems to find reason to celebrate that special time when folks journey home and kiss their loved ones under the mistletoe. These were indeed the very reasons keeping me from producing videos sooner. So this Captain's Log may be a little bit longer due to a little bit of catch up. Life in LP3397 progresses on as usual. Our influence is currently fluctuating between 50 and 60%, which is pretty much where we want it for now. Anything more than 60% and we begin to get into expansion preparation territory. Lots of quests start popping up on the bulletin board to undermine neighbouring factions, killing skimmers, doing wet work, killing pirates, all those kind of missions. For now, we want to avoid these types of quests, so we're happy to let the influence fluctuate between the 50 and 60% region. Recently, Dr. Chapman has begun an anti-drinking campaign in answer to increasing alcoholic-related health issues in the system, specifically in Gelman Ring. Seems a large number of citizens there have fallen off the wagon and demand for liquor has gone up through the roof. All the imported liquor is beginning to drum up some problems in the populace, as well as destabilise our usual trading. Dr. Chapman has asked commanders to stop any and all importing of liquor and other alcoholic substances into 339. Ever since the acquisition of Gelman Ring by Starship Enterprises, two of our system's other factions have been perpetually squabbling, and we have seen one civil war after the next, with no real traction on either side. These two factions are of course Blue Creative and the IVP, or the Independent Values Party, leftovers from our campaign to take Gelman Ring. We've found in the past that the IVP faction are a little easier to keep on the leash than their rivals Blue Creative, and because of this, Dr. Chapman has issued orders that SE pilots support the IVP in this current civil war and help them defeat Blue Creative. Influence-wise, there are three main areas we are focusing our efforts into at the moment. The first is trade, which is being spearheaded by our humanitarian aid department. HAD have been extremely active recently, both in system and also in the Pleiades sector. Commanders will usually be able to find a whole bunch of delivery quests to systems stricken by famine close by to 339. There is almost always a faction somewhere in the local area that needs help. These quests do not give out huge amounts of influence, but they pay well for minimal work. Multiple quests will often be given out to the same system, and it's only really worth gathering a bunch of delivery quests if they're all to the same place, otherwise it'll take far too long to complete. Luckily, this is pretty much the case in 339, with multiple quests targeting the same famine-stricken system. The important thing to remember is to bring back goods to sell in 339. Target high-tech, refinery or extraction economies, buy metals or medicines, try to buy multiple items in stacks greater than 10. It's selling these items that will gain us the influence. The delivery quests benefit the player, but the effect on the miner faction is minimal. Selling items back in 339 for profit has the opposite effect. The player may only make a small profit, but the miner faction will benefit much more. So doing these runs, everyone is happy. The second and third activity we are focusing on really go hand in hand. These activities are tourism and exploration. For these activities, commanders will need a ship that has passenger cabins. These can be bought at most high-tech systems. Two nearby examples are LHS 3589 and HR 8170. There are two ways to go about doing passenger quests, either the bus or the private plane. Being a bus is perhaps the best way to grind influence for Starship Enterprises, and it's best done in a bigger ship. A bus will ferry multiple people over a small distance. The perfect bus will have a few first-class seats and the rest economy to maximise capacity, as well as some cargo space, as the quest will often reward commanders with loot. Being a bus is very much like being a cargo trader, only your cargo is people rather than goods. A fuel scoop is not really needed, but some weapons can be useful in case you are attacked along the way. The private plane route requires a little bit more tinkering with one ship. These are the quests to collect data or go on sightseeing trips. They require commanders to carry a small group of passengers, often of a secretive nature, to some far-off celestial marvel. If you have an exploration ship, then all you really need to do is stick a first-class cabin, or the best you can, into the said ship, and you're ready to go. The collect data quests can take commanders literally across the galaxy, and even though the month-long time limit seems like a very long time, I would advise commanders to be careful when picking what quest to take. I like to get ones around the 5,000 or 6,000 light year mark, so I have plenty of time to deviate, meander and explore along the way. These quests do not give out a great deal of influence, but the cartographer data collected en route will, and both the data and the quest itself will pay handsomely when you return. It is best to take one passenger at a time for these types of quests, and be careful not to crash or be scanned, as this will usually upset the passenger and you will likely fail the quest. Background simulation aside, and there is still plenty going on in the SE offices, our local Hudson control system Gilgamesh has fallen under a dictatorship rule, and SE has vowed to help it get it back under the thumb of a more amenable government. Which government exactly is a bit of a quandary, but after much debating it was settled that we would support Jesse's Exploration and Travel Co, as it is a player group, and ultimately we think that we should always try and support player factions if the opportunity arises. To aid in this, we are asking players to do bulletin board and passenger lounge missions for this faction at any station in Gilgamesh. Another focus of much debate in the SE head office was the THARGOIDs, and it was finally decided that SE take a non-aggression stance on the Goids for several reasons which I may well put together into another video. For now, and in the interest of simplicity, I will say that SE is thinking of the long game. Lines will eventually have to be drawn in the sand between humanity and the Thargoids, and to make this happen, a standard form of communication between both parties must be established. I touch on this problem between player factions in my Great Communications Problem video, which I'll post a link to, but the same principle can be applied here. If we were able to communicate with the Thargoids, then maybe we wouldn't be fighting now. Or said another way, with no lines of communication, it will eventually boil down to conflict. So our focus is to get those lines of communication open. Our main efforts have been to help Professor Palin collect and study examples of Thargoid technology. This can be done by landing at any station in the Maia system. When you land, you will receive a message from Professor Palin asking you to undertake a quest. Accept this and then go to HIP 17125, planet A3A, and at the coordinates -65.822 by 48.861, which I'll post below. In the belly of a wide valley, you will find a crashed Thargoid scout ship with the various items needed for the quest strewn around the wreckage. Simply collect what you need, relog to respawn new loot, and hightail it back to Palin. Fly quickly as the Thargoid materials corrode your internals. Make sure that you return to the same station you landed at last time. Quest can now be found on the bulletin board, and, completed, take off and land again and you will receive another quest from Palin and can repeat the process. Quests reward very well and can be done quickly enough with a bit of practice, and we think that it is the best way to aid the Thargoid efforts at the moment. The Thargoids themselves are aggressive enough and have done major damage in the Pleiades sector. SE Humanitarian Aid and Search and Rescue have teamed up to go and help in the relief efforts. Players wishing to participate in this should grab a big ship, the bigger the better, and equip it with 50-50 economy passenger cabins and cargo. Get a fuel scoop for the trip out as it's a long haul, although you will not need it once you're there. Grab a heatsink because where you're going is going to be hot, real hot. An anti-Thargoid, anti-BMP thing is also advised, just in case, and you can purchase one of these at Thirsk Survey. And finally, and probably most importantly, load up on as much basic medicines as you can carry, which can be bought at either Gelman Ring or the park. Then haul ass over to one of those damage stations in the Pleiades sector. They're easy enough to spot on your map as they have their own special tags. Near each damage station is a rescue ship. Go here first and sell all of those basic medicines for massive profits. You can buy more basic medicines from industrial stations in the area, but most of them are being bought out by players. Good thing you brought some. Now, go to the station itself and ask to dock. Dock quickly and consider using that heatsink. Once you're in, check out the passenger lounge and load up on quests. All of these quests go to the rescue ship you just visited. You can go back and forth doing these quests and farm some really good micro materials for engineering. You will also be rewarded loot that goes into your cargo, but you should have the space if you've been following your orders. Stay for as long as you like or until your cargo is full, and then return to Gelman Ring for a resupply. And finally, in other news, the SE System Analysis team have completed a second successful contract and had great feedback from it. So if you're a new player faction, or you know of a new player faction, and you would like a helping hand with the background simulation, then please feel free to pop a comment down below, and I will get back to you. Each contract we complete helps us understand the background simulation a little bit more, so it's as good for us as it is for you. I think that's about everything for now, guys. If you've got any interesting news regarding our local area, please feel free to comment down below. And yes, subscribe to keep up with SE events as they unfold. For now, that's me. Over and out.